Some of the parents that I know have told me something I never honestly thought about, but this may be an obvious point. They will sometimes say that if you have three different children, they will often interpret the exact same experience in three completely different ways. Just as a celibate man, I honestly never thought of it. It's interesting. This friend of mine, he's my age, he's 52, grew up in the 70s like me, and he told me that until he was about in third grade, he was totally terrified of water, would not go near a pool. And apparently, when he was in third grade, he went to a pool party, and all of his buddies are in the pool swimming, and he's over by himself. And he said his dad came up behind him, picked him up, brings him to the edge of the pool, and just dropped him in. Sink or swim, buddy, right? And he was in the shallow end of the pool. It was only like waist deep, and his parents were sitting right there, right? So as you can imagine, he said for the first 10 minutes, he was just flailing about, screaming at the top of his lungs. After about 10 minutes, when he kind of died down a little bit, it was less, and he started swimming around a little bit. After 10 minutes later, he started swimming a little bit, and then an hour later it was time to go, and they couldn't get him out of the pool because he loved it so much. But he told me, he said, Ben, it's funny because some kids would interpret that as daddy abandonment issues or anger towards my father. He said he was sitting there the whole time watching me if I needed help. But he was like, you got this, you're going to be fine. And he said, I always took it as my dad teaching me, look, you got to attack life sometimes. You have to have courage. And he said he never forgot that. One woman told me this week, she said, Father, when I was a young mother, it was my job to teach my kids how to be independent and strong adults one day. They grew up, left the house, and they are now independent and strong adults one day, and now my job is to back off and let them be independent and strong adults and not stick my hands in it when I need to, when I want to, when I feel like I should. In other words, for each one of us, when we become adults, maybe we need somebody to drop us in the pool and say, you got this. And if you're like me, maybe we're flailing around a little bit, right? And it's as if the Lord is saying, you got this? I'm right here, man. You got it. It's interesting, isn't it? The heart of a mother is forever wired to her child, and I have this theory that even when a mother loses a child, that they actually have a stronger connection to God now than they did before. Why? Because their child is now with God, praying for their mom. It's always the spiritual umbilical cord, the connection between a mom and her kiddo. It's wired into the heart, and it's both a blessing and a curse, as the saying goes. Maybe you've heard this. A mother is only as happy as what? Sometimes hard for men to understand this. One of my favorite moms in the Gospels is a woman named Salome. If you don't know who Salome is, she was the mother of the apostles James and John, the wife of Zebedee. So in Matthew 20, it's a really funny story, actually, because Jesus is walking down the street, the apostles, James and John, and their mom, Salome, runs up to have a conversation with Jesus. She says, Jesus, I've got a request. And don't you know, James and John are like, oh, Lord. Right? So command that my sons will sit one on your right, the other left when you get to heaven. It's not asking for much, Jesus. Right? And I mean, you can just tell James and John, their faces were like 12 shades of red. But, for me, and I think Jesus got a real kick out of it, for me, I'm like, good for you, Salome. Carpe diem, sister. I mean, what mother would not want that for her kid? That your child gets closer to God. She probably just said the thing that the other mothers wanted to say but didn't have the courage to say. And I mention this, moms, because this is an obvious point, but the best way to get our children, and especially our adult children, closer to Jesus is that they see you pray and they see your faith. Even if they never tell you, they see it or they hear about it through the grapevine. So in other words, if you want to get your kids closer to Him, it starts with your own prayer life. Hey, and by the way, side note, let's give it up for our new American Pope, yeah? We will never have an American Pope, they said. We will never have a Pope from the United States, they said. And the Holy Spirit said, hold my beer. Funny how things happen. So I'm guessing that in 1961, at Our Lady of the Assumption Parish in South Chicago, when our current Pope made his first communion, his mother Mildred, who was a librarian who was sitting there watching him make his first communion, Robert, I'm guessing that she did not know that one day her son would be Pope. She may know that he might be a priest, certainly not the first American Pope. We never know what our children are going to do. And as parents, we often internalize our children's bad decisions. And we often we forget about the fact that they are constantly absorbing both the positive and, let's be honest, some of the negative by osmosis. That's why we have to have a life with Christ first, yeah? So where she is, Mildred, Pope Leo's mom, is in heaven. She sees that God has just took her son and dropped him in the pool. You got it? Good luck, Leo. He does the same with us. You ever been in a pool, flailing around? On all days that end in Y, Father. Yeah, we've all been there. Gentlemen, if you permit me, as a man, it may be helpful for us to know a little bit about some of the struggles that moms go through. Here's a few. Number one, stress. Work stress, life stress, financial stress. By the way, they never feel like they've given enough time to their kid. They feel guilt because I want to have given more. And by the way, my child probably made that bad decision because I didn't give enough time. Or maybe I was smothering. They internalize this. Moms are often exhausted, sleep deprived, and when they lay down to go to bed, they can't sleep because their brain starts going. It's really, really hard, did you know that, gentlemen, to have friends when you're a young mother? Just to find quiet time with your friends, to have a ladies' night out, that's hard. That's one of the reasons we do it here. Oh, and by the way, one of the things that grates on my last nerve, often the day after a young mother gives birth, they're expected to have an hourglass figure. The day after. It's completely unrealistic. But this is one of the things that the culture lays on them. It's crazy. Oh, and somewhere in there, in raising these little ones, I need to find time for prayer as a mom. We raise them to be independent and healthy adults. And when they become independent and healthy adults, it's my job to give them back to God. Why? Because the truth is, moms, they were never really ours to begin with, right? They're on loan to us. Here's the good news. And moms, those of you that are mothers or grandmothers, please correct me if I'm wrong here. Heaven will not be heaven for you without your kids. Can you imagine as a mom? I'll take that one and that one. No, I don't want that one. Right? I'll take half of that one. All right? And of course, we want our children there. Of course. God knows this. He knows this. So if we have children that have strayed, if they're having a rough time, well, trust me, He is going to do everything in His power to get them on the right track. Maybe they need a pool drop. Okay. I'll close with this. It is said that mothers never forget the first. They always remember the first. What do I mean? First time they start speaking, what are their first words? First time they walk, first day of school. First time they ride a bike without training wheels. Their first time they go on a date. Their first communion, their first confession. First time they go driving, Lord help us, right? Their first day in college. And yes, when our child has their first child, and all of a sudden the things that we thought they were never listening to go bubbling up because they were dormant in there somewhere. Think, wow, they listen. We do the best we can as parents. We're all a mess, and we're all making it up as we go, and sometimes our kids, as much as we love them, expect us to walk on water, to have all the answers, even if they never say that, and we don't, and we're trying to figure this out, and that's okay. Because the truth is, we try to raise them to be healthy and independent adults, and when they become healthy and independent adults, we have to take our hands off of it and maybe give them a pool drop. And maybe that's what they need the most.